This game is telling me my graphics drivers are out of date. I don't care because we take the initiative to check out the new games on the market. I really should update those drivers, but in the meantime, let's talk about this game, Civilization Beyond Earth by Firaxis Games. It's a 4X game with similar mechanics and concepts to the Civilization games and to Alpha Centauri from 1999. People have said that it's very similar to Civilization 5, but unfortunately, I've only played Civilization 3, never 4 or 5. My impression of the game will probably be different from that of other people. Then again, maybe not. We'll see. The game is a sci-fi take on the series, so no going from the Copper Age to the Space Age. We're already past that, and we're landing on a new planet. But for the most part, you do the same thing as in the other Civilization games. You assign your population to work on different tiles, you discover strategic resources on the map and exploit them, you colonize new sections of the map and build roads between them. But I've noticed a few things that I'm not liking. No idea if this was introduced in a previous Civilization game, but it's news to me. You can't expand too much because that reduces the health of your cities. Less health means penalties in everything you do, so expansion is heavily discouraged in this game, and it's a shame because this is one of the aspects of 4X games that I really like. You can only have 2 or 3 cities before the health system really brings you down. You have to research some of the late game improvements before you can get a 5th or 6th city. When I first saw the tech tree, I was very confused. Many games would sort of section off groups of tech based on what they generally did, like economy, military, culture, etc. But here's a web. Have fun! It always takes a few games to understand the tech tree in a 4X game, but this definitely can be made easier for newcomers. In addition to the tech tree, you have an affinity system which advances you in one of 3 directions. Harmony focuses on living with life on the planet, purity is retaining all the qualities of humanity, and supremacy seems like a mix of the two. In my playthroughs, I went with supremacy. Most of the combat is against the aliens, which is kind of weird calling them that because we're the aliens, not them. But we're killing them and destroying their homes, and there's less emphasis on attacking other players. It's that one combat unit per hex rule that really gets to me. I could stack a whole bunch of ships in Civilization 3, but here I get the impression that the developers don't want me to attack anyone. Everyone seems to want a peaceful coexistence. In fact, everyone is pretty much acting the same way. Everyone is teching up towards one of the peaceful victories, so as long as you keep the aliens in check, no one is going to attack you. If you attack them, the cities themselves have a decent amount of fortification before they go down, and once you finally capture it, the health system comes into play to tell you that you made a big mistake. Beyond Earth seems okay, but it didn't impress me too much. I like having aircraft and units with guns, but the game discourages expansion and PvP combat. I'm not sure if this was a thing in Civilization 4 or 5, but I never got that feeling in Civilization 3. So, with all of these things in mind, let's go to the analysis. I think the game will fall off the radar quickly, but not disappear entirely. Civilization is a big name, so people will know about this game and it will get the exposure that it should. The initial reviews seem to suggest it's not as good as Civilization 5, so people will quickly lose interest. We're also coming up to the Christmas holidays, so everyone is plastering advertisements everywhere and getting their games out the door. You won't be hearing about this game for much longer. After a few months, the game will pick up a little bit. It doesn't have that long-lasting appeal and variety that the other Civilization games had, but the game will still be in the back of everyone's minds because they always have expansions and they always improve the base game. I think there will be an expansion announced in this time frame, just not released. The expansions tend to be released after a year or so. At the very least, you can expect more content in the future, and perhaps they will rework the AI and rebalance the game to encourage a little more combat and expansion. Maybe it's my affinity with blowing stuff up that I could never really get into the Civilization series. It's always been a just okay experience for me, and Beyond Earth doesn't seem to change that. As with all Forex games, it takes several games and several hours in each of them to understand what you're doing, but you should at least be enjoying it before that. For me personally, I have to be enjoying it within the first 12 hours, and it's not doing it for me. When every faction is acting the same way, it feels like I have to play the same way in response to them every time. What I should be doing is building more units in response to a warmonger AI, or focus on research to keep up with a more scientific-oriented AI, and it just seems like Beyond Earth is missing that variety of opponents. Plus, it discourages some playstyles that I really enjoy in Forex games. But you know, we'll see. In a few months' time, we'll take a look at the game again. Thanks for watching.